Leeds United are considering sacking Daniel Farke, or at least according to the Daily Mail, that is the case. First off, I want to start by giving my opinion. And if you are a Leeds fan or a football fan, please leave your opinion if you would keep Farke or you would get rid of him and try find a replacement in the summer. But it's only been a couple of days since promotion was secured. My last video was about Leeds actually securing promotion, and we're already feeling like we're in a hectic rumour mill, the newspapers picking up stories, and I truly think that Daniel Farke deserves a chance. Admittedly, his Premier League record in the past has been very poor, and that is, according to the Daily Mail, what the Leeds ownership are thinking. And I completely get that point of view, and I think in this scenario, we have to take emotion out of the situation and look at this how the owners will be seeing it. They're business people. They're here to make money. They want Leeds to make as much money as possible and be in the most successful position. And I think most Leeds fans, including myself, would agree that Daniel Farke is likely to fail in the Premier League. As sad as that is, he's done it before with good squads coming up from the Championship and failed multiple times. So do we really think he has what it takes to take us to a higher level and keep us in the top division of English football? The answer is no. Probably not. But at the same time, emotion for us fans is tied to the game. And the emotions of this season and last season mean a lot. They mean a lot to all of us. They mean a lot to the players as well. They might not mean that much to the ownership though. I think if a manager does the job that Farke has done, getting us promoted with 2 games left, going on to challenge for the Championship title, having realistically 2 very successful seasons. Last season was a little bit of a failure. Yes, we should have gotten those automatic promotion spots given the squad that we have. However, at the start of this season, losing Somerville, losing Rutter, losing Archie Gray, even Glenn Kamara, we lost the spine of our squad. And Farke managed to turn it around. From an outside perspective, I would have thought that would buy him some extra credit with the ownership, who thought, all right, maybe this summer transfer window hasn't gone as well. We've lost a lot of players we didn't want to lose. Farke's managed to steady the ship and get Leeds promoted. So for that reason, despite my dislike for him in moments throughout this season, if you're a fan of the channel, you've probably seen videos where I've said I don't particularly like his style of football a lot of the time. He's earned the right to give it a go. I completely understand having other management options ready and available, waiting in the ranks for when it does go wrong, which I think it will under Farke. But if we get someone else in and then it fails, it's going to look like a real failure from the ownership. And everyone will be saying, oh, well, imagine what Daniel would have done. Why did we disrupt the squad? But let's explore the option of him being sacked. What would we do? Who could we bring in? There's a few things that float around my head. Obviously, the 49ers chose Farke in the Championship, not particularly for his style of football, not for an exciting style. I really hope we don't, similar to how Farke is focused on promotion, go and get a manager who is just focused on survival. There's a few of those. Sean Dyche is the first one that comes to mind. He's a free agent at the minute. He survived many years with a very poor Burnley squad. Didn't go so well at Everton. However, that could be an option that the 49ers are looking at. I certainly hope not. Even someone like Roy Hodgson, I'm not sure if he's actually retired yet, but he survived the Premier League with poor squads many times. Pellegrini. There's lots of different options in that field. I personally hope we're not looking there. I would want a manager who is maybe looking for a new challenge. I think Leeds are going to be spending upwards of 100 million this summer, I would think. If we want any chance with whoever comes in to survive in the Premier League, we need to spend a lot of money. So a new manager who we're trying to get from a different Premier League or a different top-level European club might be persuaded by the fact, look, you're going to come to Leeds United, a huge club, one of the biggest clubs in the country. The stadium expansion has just been approved today by Leeds City Council. So soon we're going to be playing in a 56,000-seater stadium, one of the biggest in the country. Crazy atmosphere, fans all over the world, a grand history with £100 million to spend on players. Maybe a manager that's looking for a new challenge, something a little bit different, might be tempted by that. I've seen rumours of Jose Mourinho. I'm not sure I'd even want him, to be honest. I think the way in which the 49ers have worked, they like to keep things calm, all above board, no arguments between the ownership and the management, etc. Jose Mourinho does not bring calm. as much as he's a big name, and maybe from a marketing perspective and sales perspective, it might be a good move from the ownership, I don't think that he's the option we need. And then I'm looking at other Premier League teams. I was just watching the One Leeds live stream, and Connor was talking about Thomas Frank. I think Thomas Frank could be a great option. I don't particularly see him leaving Brentford unless we can offer him a hell of a lot more money and really sell the project. Ange Postecoglou's probably going to be gone from Tottenham soon. However, you've just seen him with a way better squad than Leeds have fail for the majority of a season at Spurs. So I wouldn't particularly want him. Again, a bit of a character, maybe someone that would fit the old stereotypical Leeds ethos, but not someone that I think would guide us to safety. So then I'm thinking, well, what's the point in getting rid of Farke if we don't have an option that is more likely to keep us in the Premier League with the current squad and a few additions? Because let's face it, we're not working with the old style of club where the manager is in charge of the signings, etc. Very clearly the 49ers that have led on that. Yes, Farke has had an influence, and obviously we saw Tanaka come in from the Bundesliga, and it suits his play style and what he wants in a player still, but really it's the 49ers that are leading on that. So I don't think there's an issue of, do we trust Farke spending all that transfer budget for him then to fail in 10 games and get someone else in, because the 49ers will be looking for players in a long-term perspective who can help us propel ourselves towards the top half of the Premier League within the next couple of years, especially if they're planning to add on another 15,000 seats to Ellen Road. It's going to be a long-term vision. And as I say, it's got to be that long-term vision that helps us try source a new manager. If that's even what we're doing, I've got to be honest, if the 49ers are genuinely considering this and they have leaked this information to the press, first of all, it's very, very poor when we're still in the season. There's still a couple of games left when we're challenging for a title. That is not a good sign. But again, I revert back to my point of, we're fans, we're emotional, and we now have a connection to Farke. We've just had a big promotion party at Ellen Road, but they don't care. They want Premier League survival, and maybe Farke isn't the best option to do so. I don't know. Leeds fans, I'm really torn on this one because I've been a little bit of a Daniel Farke hater throughout the last couple seasons. I think there's a few players in the squad that he really hasn't made the most of. Everyone's seen it in the last 10, 15 games with Ramazani, who looked fantastic at the start of the season and then hasn't really had an opportunity. Wober, yes, he's had injury issues, but Leeds, let's not forget, when we were in the Premier League, we were all absolutely losing our mind over Wober's quality, saying he could go to a different Premier League club when we got relegated. There was rumours of him going to the Bundesliga, etc. Obviously, took that move out on loan and then nothing materialised this summer. But he's a good centre-back, a good defender who clearly has a lot about him, and we've not made the most of him at all. You could say the same about Willie Gnonto for periods of this season. Obviously, he's had a run in the team now, and you would never have dropped Dan James or, for most of the season, Manor Solomon to put him in, but we haven't made the most of him. We've got a lot of really good players who haven't shone to their maximum capabilities under Daniel Farke, and I think the 49ers will be looking at that, his lack of Premier League success, the amount of investment they're going to make in the club and the project that's coming up, and thinking, do we pull the trigger? Is now the time to make a change? It could backfire massively, is my one worry. It's got to go right. They've got to get the right person who's invested in the club and the project. And I think even if we got someone who took us down and then left, that would be classed as another massive failure. It's a very, very hard one to judge. I'm honestly really intrigued as to what everyone thinks about this, because the whole situation is scary for me. If we got a manager like De Zerbi, that'd be unreal. But are we going to pry him away from Marseille, who are challenging for European football in France and probably have a bigger budget than us, another historic club? Very unlikely. If we got someone like Thomas Frank, I'd be fine with that. But I don't think that that's... The size of Leeds United should mean that we can get that calibre of manager. But when we've just been promoted, the only thing that can bring that calibre of manager is the project. It really depends how much money we have to spend, how much the 49ers believe in and are here for the long-term investment into that project, and how much they can place that message onto a new potential manager. Really difficult. Again, just to be clear, I'm exploring options here. I think that Farke should be given a chance. what he's done this season, given we lost our two best players and our best youngster in the summer, has been good. I've not liked it all the time. We've had a couple of wobbles. I think that he could have done better with certain players and against certain opponents. However, we just got promoted in a pressure game after beating Stoke 6-0. We're all on a high. Let's see if we win the league. And then if we do, he even more so deserves a chance. You can't win the title and then not get at least 5-10 games to give it a go. Let me know what you think, Leeds fans. If you are a Leeds fan or a Championship fan, please do leave a comment, hit like and subscribe. Not far off 1,000 subscribers now, boys and girls. Really want to hit that mark, especially by the end of the year, but hopefully sooner than that. I'll catch you again very soon. Peace.